Okay, so today we're going over your positive homework. You can stop the video whenever you need to. Just make sure you have the correct answers on your own worksheet. So it's important to first review the notes that are at the top of that homework because there are a few appositive and appositive phrases that are a bit confusing. So we need to remember that an appositive is a noun that is placed next to or in opposition to, which just means side by side, another noun to identify or add information to it. So those are the two things that it can do. For example, Franklin Delano Roosevelt's wife, Eleanor, was a famous humanitarian. So Eleanor here is our appositive that is identifying our noun, wife. Next, an appositive phrase is a group of words that includes an appositive and other words that describe that appositive. For example, we have Roosevelt, our 32nd president, was the only U.S. president to be elected to the presidency 4 times. So our appositive phrase is our 32nd president, which is adding more information to our noun, Roosevelt. An appositive phrase that is not essential to the meaning of the sentence is set off from the rest of the sentence by commas. However, if the appositive is essential to the meaning of the sentence, commas are not used. And we'll see some examples of that in the sentences below. So for this exercise, you are underlining each appositive or appositive phrase and circling the noun it identifies, just like in the examples. Here we have another example for you. George Washington, the commander of the Continental Army, led troops during the Revolutionary War. So, commander of the Continental Army here is our appositive phrase, adding more information to our noun, George Washington. So let's take a look at number 1. Washington's picture is on a coin, the quarter. The quarter is our appositive phrase identifying coin. Number 2, John Adams succeeded the President George Washington as President of the United States. George Washington is our appositive phrase, adding more information or identifying our noun, President. Number 3, Adams' wife Abigail was well-read and outspoken. Abigail is our appositive, identifying our noun, wife. Number 4, Thomas Jefferson wrote the first draft of a historic document, the Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence is our appositive phrase identifying document. Number 5, Jefferson designed Monticello his 32-room house. His 32-room house is our appositive phrase, adding more information to Monticello. Number 6, Dolly Madison, wife of James Madison, rescued important government documents from the White House before fire could destroy them. Wife of James Madison is our appositive phrase. It is adding more information to our noun, Dolly Madison. Number 7, James Monroe was said to have nursed the wounds of the famous French soldier, the Marquis de Lafayette. So the Marquis de Lafayette is our phrase here because it's identifying which French soldier we're talking about. And you may be thinking, what? Why aren't there any commas in this sentence? If you remember from our notes in the beginning of this worksheet, this phrase is essential to the meaning of the sentence. Therefore, we do not use any commas. Moving on to number 8, Monroe was president when the United States acquired Florida, a populous territory. A populous territory is our appositive phrase, and it's adding more information to our noun, Florida. Number 9, John Quincy Adams, the son of the second president, served only 1 term. The son of the second president is our appositive phrase, adding more information to our noun, John Quincy Adams. So make sure before we move on to the next slide that you have all of these correct information on your own paper. Moving on to number 10, a former governor of New York, Martin Van Buren, capitalized on the popularity of his predecessor, Andrew Jackson. So we actually have 2 in this sentence. The first appositive phrase is a former governor of New York. A former governor of New York is adding more information to our noun, Martin Van Buren. The second appositive phrase we have is actually Andrew Jackson, because this phrase is identifying which predecessor we are talking about. So predecessor is our noun. Number 11, William Henry Harrison's nickname, Old Tippecanoe, came from his military victory at the Battle of Tippecanoe in 1811. So, Old Tippecanoe is our appositive phrase, and it is identifying or adding more information to our noun, which is nickname. Number 12, Harrison's successor, John Tyler, was the first person to become president because of the death of the current president. Here, John Tyler is our positive phrase, and it's identifying successor, which is our noun. It's telling us who the successor was. Number 13, the dark horse candidate James K. Polk was backed by the Democratic Party. James K. Polk is our positive phrase, identifying the noun candidate. Number 14, Polk wished to acquire California, a Mexican territory. A Mexican territory is our positive phrase, adding more information to our noun California. Number 15, Zachary Taylor, Old Rough and Ready, achieved much popularity as a general in the Mexican War. Old Rough and Ready is our positive phrase, identifying or adding more information to Zachary Taylor, which is our noun. Number 16, Taylor, the 12th president, died after only a year in office. The 12th president is our positive phrase, adding more information to Taylor, our noun. Number 17, Franklin Pierce's good friend, Nathaniel Hawthorne, helped to promote his presidential candidacy. Nathaniel Hawthorne is our appositive phrase, and it's identifying friend. And we don't have commas in this sentence because it's necessary to the meaning of the sentence to include Nathaniel Hawthorne. Number 18, same thing, there's no commas in here. The Supreme Court case Dred Scott v. Sanford was decided during James Buchanan's presidency. So Dred Scott v. Sanford is our positive phrase identifying case, so it's telling us which case, and it's also necessary to the meaning of the sentence, so there are no commas. Again, before we move on, make sure, double check that you have all of the correct answers on your worksheets. You can pause this video if you need to. Number 19, Buchanan was defeated by the Republican candidate Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln is our positive phrase identifying which candidate, and candidate is our noun. Number 20, Lincoln, one of our greatest presidents, had to lead the country during a bloody civil war. So our positive phrase is one of our greatest presidents, and it's adding more information to Lincoln. 21, Lincoln earned the nickname the Great Emancipator. So the Great Emancipator is our positive phrase. It's adding more information to nickname, which is our noun. 22, the assassin John Wilkes Booth shot and killed Lincoln 1 month after he began his second term. John Wilkes Booth is identifying assassin, which is our noun. Number 23, the Vice President Andrew Jackson was sworn in as president after Lincoln's death. So Andrew Jackson here is our positive phrase, identifying which vice president we are talking about. 24, the celebrated Civil War general Ulysses S. Grant became the 18th president of the United States in 1869. Our positive phrase here is Ulysses S. Grant. It's identifying which war general the sentence is talking about. It is also necessary to the sentence's meaning. Therefore, we do not use any commas. Number 25. Rutherford B. Hayes' wife, Lucy, was the first wife of a president to hold a college degree. Lucy is our positive phrase, and it's identifying, we're adding more information to wife. And number 26. The United States battleship Maine blew up in Cuba's harbor during William McKinley's presidency. Our positive here is Maine, and it is identifying battleship. So make sure you have all the correct answers, and that is it for our homework